And hey there guys, how's it going? And it's me, Mikey Perion, and welcome back to our episodes here in the iCraft server, and it's episode 45, and now we're finally back here in the city of Perion, and of course, as I promised, we're gonna continue working on our projects here, right? So basically, of course, on our last couple of live streams, so basically we already have work in this area right over here. So yeah, well, I haven't done much of that progress, but this is actually something new. Probably I haven't shown this in YouTube, in our episodes here in YouTube. So basically, we got here some sort of like a dock. So what we're planning to do for this episode is actually to work at least on the on this tower right over here. Now we need to cover up this thing right over here, which is actually our hostile mob farm. So segment by segment, most likely I think that's the best way for me to present on how we are going to work here. So probably of course on the first part, of course we're gonna do a time lapse in most of the building, segments that we are going to do here. So first the plan is to have some sort of like a water wheel here, or some sort of like a water mill. Basically, I think it adds to some sort of like, having some mechanical things going on in our city, since this is actually a steampunk theme city. So basically, we're gonna try to add some more of those elements here, in the city, right? But anyhow, of course, probably on the first segment, we're gonna work on the water mill and as well as this ground floor. I'm not sure if this is actually the ground floor, because we already got a ground floor on this part right over here. So basically, yeah, so we're gonna work up to this area, and then after that we're gonna try to work level by level. But anyhow, so without further ado, let's get started. And it's already the second day of our recording session, and I think I forgot to mention in the intro on what we're actually trying to achieve here. So basically, this block right over here, these some sort of like, different buildings or establishments that we're gonna try to build here is actually part of the farming district. So this building right over here is also part of the farming district because, well, we already got the bee farm on the top part right over there, and as well as the chorus plant farm on the bottom section right over here, and as well as of course on this section we already got the hostile mob farm and as well as the stone factory on the second level. So I think of course as much as possible we want to put all of our farms into one area, right? So at least some of those farms needs to be AFK'd, so at least we can just stay in one area, right? But anyhow, on the ground level right over here, well, basically what we're planning to do here is actually to have the villagers. So basically on this area, probably we're gonna have some sort of like a living quarter for our farmers. So well, we're gonna try to group our villagers as much as we can. So on this area right over here, since we're actually going to have our crops, some sort of like those carrots and potatoes and those beetroots that we can actually sell to those farmers. Well, we can actually place the farmers here, so at least we can easily trade with them, right? But anyhow, so of course, on this side right over here, probably we can also place our masons on this section right over here, and this is going to be their living quarters. So basically, we're also gonna have some sort of like two levels of, bedrooms, some sort of like that, or some sort of like living quarters. Just a room full of beds, right? And on this section is probably going to be their working area where we are actually going to put the stone quarters. So at least, we can convert those villagers into masons. And well, the best thing about it, well, we can also consider this area is some sort of like a clay farm, since once we have the here of the village perk, we can actually utilize those masons that we're gonna have here and gather some of those clay blocks, right? And probably on this section right over here, this is going to be their town center, so this is where we are going to place the bell. and probably we can decorate this place in the future, some sort of like a dining hall or some sort of like a banquet. But we're just gonna work on that probably on the next episode. And probably you have observed that we don't actually have any access from the ground level going to the upper levels. Well, there's actually a reason behind that. So, well, we don't actually want those villagers to go around our farms because number one, well, they're kind of annoying, and secondly, well, we don't want them to, trample our farm plot since well, we are also going to use, going to have some of those carrot and potato farms, right? And also, well, as much as possible, we're also gonna try to make this place as accessible as possible, since we're gonna work a lot on these areas right over here for our farming duties. So basically, of course, we're gonna try to put an access like this bridgeway connecting to this building right over here, and probably on this section, we're gonna have some sort of like a pathway going on this side right over here where we actually have another bridge connecting to our storage system on this building right over here. And as well as, of course, probably you already have see here. I mean, you can already see here. We already got some water streams that will actually gonna connect our farms to our storage system. As you can probably already know that this is actually some sort of like a water stream that will actually push all of the items going inside our storage system. And basically, well, we're just gonna explain that further later on, probably once we have built or connected all of the levels that we're gonna try to build for this project, right? But anyhow, so well, like I mentioned, that we're gonna have some sort of like different designs on every corner. Probably on this corner right over here, what I'm planning here is to have some sort of like a greenhouse. Well, a vertical greenhouse, because I think well, since we have different types of crops, probably we can have, on the first level we're gonna have the potatoes, and then on the second level we're gonna have the carrots. So well, the plants are still sensitive though, but at least we're trying to make some rooms for our farms that we're gonna try to build probably on the next episode, or probably in our live stream in Twitch. So well, remember guys, well, you can also join me on our Twitch streams. But anyhow, of course, it's time to resume our time lapse and make some progress for this project. But anyway, so well, let's resume our time lapse. So already the fourth day of our recording session, and probably now I'm starting to think that this is probably the hardest design that I ever have decided to make here in Minecraft. But well, as you can see, this is quite complex. Well, it's not actually just a single build, but probably this is actually a couple of buildings that we have built for that segment. It actually took me 2 days for me to do this. So well, just basically I need to cut it from here because I think, well, I still need to reorganize, and I think let's just go on to the top. Reorganize our plants because on the section right over here, well, as you can see, this is kind of complex, right? So, well, like I said, well, probably it's, that's the purpose of this, because on this area, it's actually, what we're planning is to have some sort of like, chaotic design. Well, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's something like, chaotic, organized chaotic, something like that. But I don't know. But as you can see, we have plenty of rooms here. So I already have labeled most of the parts here. So let's start first here on this. Actually, this is actually the second floor. But this is actually the first level for our farm. So as you can see, we have here our stone factory. And we have a bit of like a maze thing going on here, as you can see. Well, this is not actually symmetrical, and everything is like, has its own shape. And well, I already have labeled which are the farms that we are going to build in each segment or in each room that we're gonna have here. Well, we already have here. Well, basically, like for example, for this one, this is where we are going to place the cactus farm. So I still need to place some sort of like a water stream connecting to this pipeline right over here, going to our storage system. And yeah, so this side we got the stone factory, and on this side, well, this is where we are going to have the sugarcane farm. So basically, we're gonna have two levels of sugar canes here. And on this side, this is where we are actually going to have the dye farms. Well, initially I have planned this for the crops, but I think we're gonna do it on the upper levels. So on this one, this is where we are going to have the dye farms. And basically, this area right over here is just an elevator. Well, this elevator right over here is going to be the express one, which actually will shoot us up going to the topmost level of this structure. So basically, that's the plan for this one, and of course, this one is for the item, flow. So basically, it's just gonna be a hollow pipe, should I say? So basically, it will just fall down, and it's actually connected going to this pipeline right over here. And this bridge right over here is actually the connection going to our storage system. And this pathway right over here is actually going back, of course, to the other side of the farm where we actually got the the chorus and the bee farm on this building right over here. So on the second level, well, this is still kind of undecided though. It's still, well, we got a small room right over here. So what I'm thinking is that, well, this is still not 100% sure, but probably this red tower right over here is going to be for the cow farms. And I think we can also put like the chicken and probably the pig farm, so something like that. So this area right over here is still undecided, but this room is just gonna be like this because this is actually where we just put the TNTs for our stone factory. So basically, it's just an access room, or some sort of like a buffer, some sort of like that, because I cannot decide. Well, basically, we cannot place any farm right over here. So basically, this is just the baseline of our hostile mob farm, right? I mean, base part of our hostile mob farm. And on this area, still the same. We got the elevator right over here. And yeah. So this one is actually for the cocoa beans. So cocoa beans, cocoa farm. So basically, that's what we're gonna have there. And on this level, probably this is where we are going to have our start, the crop farms, which is actually the carrots, potatoes, and the beetroot and the wheat, right? So probably we're gonna have two levels for each crop. And on this side, I'm planning to have here, well, actually the level after this one is going to be the sheep farm, an automatic one. So basically, we're gonna have those ships for each color, or we're gonna have some sort of like that. I mean, the automatic ship farm, which has every colors that we have here in the game. And on this area right over here, this is going to be some sort of like 6th level of Nether Wart farm, because I counted this. This is actually 32, so 32 times 4 will give us something like somehow related to the number of each stack. And like I said, on this part, probably this is where we are going to have the cow farm for the letters. So basically, well, still sensitive. I still have to think about that, and probably I'm not sure if I'm still gonna pick like a stairwell right over here. And lastly, well, so let's check it out on how does it look like from the ground level right over here. So basically, like I said, the idea here is to make some sort of like a chaotic design, and just to make this as dense as possible. As you can see, this is something like, I mean, a very dense city, right? And of course, this is just one side, and of course, on the other side, we're gonna have a separate building on this side right over here. So what we're planning is actually to have this like the farming district, and this one is some sort of like a university tower, where we'll actually contain some sort of like those librarians, and as well as those cartographers. So that's a future plan. But for now, I think I have to take some sort of like a break, because I need to rethink in terms of like our plan on this level right over here, because everything is really getting complicated. So I still need to do some reorganization, and probably I'm gonna start doing some layout on this level right over here. So at least once we have started the next time lapse, it will be much easier for us to work on, because well, based on my experience on working on this segment right over here, it's really hard, right? But anyhow, so of course, let me do some planning and I'll be back. And now on the day 5 of our recording session, and I guess we're still halfway done though. Well, like I said, I'm going to have a couple of errands this week, so that's why, well, these take me quite a while for me to finish this episode. But anyhow, of course, on the next time lapse that we're going to do, probably I'm just gonna do it segment by segment, or side, or by corners, something like that. Because for example, like one section right over here, or one segment right over here, we got you know, some common materials that we're actually using, so at least we'll not be that confused on what the materials are, what are the materials that we're gonna bring along with us while building a certain segment, right? And like for this one, for here, we're actually using magenta terracottas and some stones, and on that side we're actually using yellow and red terracottas and some wood. So basically something like that. At least it will be much easier for us to do our building, right? But anyhow, of course, this segment will gonna be the second to the last segment, so probably for this one we're just gonna work up to the bottom part of our spawning platform for our hostel platform right over here. But anyhow, of course, well, let's resume our time lapse. And well, that's actually the third installation of our building time lapse. So basically, we have done this main atrium right over here. So basically, this section of this compound, or what we so call the farming district, is going to be, well, we're gonna have more farms right over here. Like for example, for this one, this is where we are going to have the pumpkin and watermelon farm. So probably we're gonna have the pumpkins on this side, and we're gonna have the watermelons on this side. And on this room right over here is actually going to be our cow farm. So basically we're just gonna have probably a double deck of cow pens, something like that, right? So basically we're just gonna, you know, manually breed them and as well as slaughter them. I guess I don't want to make any more, you know, an automatic farm for the cows, because we only need that for leathers, right? I mean, we don't actually need those steaks. But anyhow, so of course this room is just actually for the elevators. Well, I also have made this downward, well, this is going to be actually a downward elevator, and as well as, like I said, on this side is going to be our upward elevator, which is going to be an express elevator going to the topmost level of this compound, or this farming district. I'm actually already confused on how we are going to call it, but probably this, we can just call this like a farming compound. I'm not sure though. But anyhow, so of course on this section right over here, well, we only got some sort of like 3 levels, sorry, 4 levels, well actually 5. Final answer, 5. 5 more levels of this greenhouse. So like I said, this is where we are going to have the crops. So basically we are going to have here the, you know, the wheat and the beetroot. But probably on this floor we're going to have beetroot, and probably of course carrots and then potatoes. And on the topmost part, there's actually an extra level right over there. And on this side right over here, well, this is actually where we are going to have the sheep farm. So basically, we are gonna have an automatic sheep farm here, which is well, I know it's already a very common design that we're gonna have here. So basically, it's just dispenser with some shears inside that will automatically shear those wool. But anyhow, of course, I will just gonna do that soon. And well, on the next level, well, on the other side, well, basically, I also forgot to mention, yeah, we're on the right level. Well, actually, this place starts to confuse me though. But anyhow, on this level, this is where we are going to start having the Nether Wart farm. So basically, the Nether Wart farm will actually occupy 3 levels. Well, similar to these ones. Of course, I will just gonna fill this in with some soul sand, and we're gonna plant some Nether Warts. And of course, we're just gonna do that soon. And on this side right over here, well, this is actually where we are going to have kelp farm. So I just thought of that we are going to need some kelp blocks. So basically, the idea on this kelp farm is going to be we're gonna have an automatic bamboo farm on the top part. So basically, that those bamboos will actually gonna serve as fuel for us to dry those kelp or those kelp plants or kelp leaves. Of course, we need to convert those kelps to dry kelps. Of course, we're just gonna use the bamboo for us to cook them, and of course, we're just gonna craft the kelp blocks. So at least we can also use those kelp blocks for fuel, because I know kelp blocks are actually very good in it's actually very good fuel to use. So yeah, so like I said, on this segment, we're also gonna have Nether Wart farm. And on this section right over here, well, we got an extra room right over here, but I'm not sure on how we're gonna use this, but probably at least in the future we have some extra room just in case we needed one. And of course, on this level we'll have the crops. And on the topmost level right over here, well, I'm thinking that we can probably make this some sort of like a garden. Because this is actually an extra floor, so I'm not sure on what we are actually going to do here. But anyhow, of course, this is also a Nether Wart farm. And on the topmost part right over here, I think we already have most of the farms that we actually needed. So basically on this section, of course, we still need to cover up this spawning platform right over here. So what I'm thinking is that, of course, this is going to be purely decorative, and also probably we can put some sort of like a flight deck right over here where we can actually fly, or as well as land if we wanted to go in to this place, right? And basically, probably on the topmost part, what I'm thinking is that probably we could have like a home on the topmost part of this compound. So basically, we're gonna have our personal mansion on the top of this spawning platform. And by the way, this is how it looks like. So at least it will be somehow look luxurious, especially just like the Bancroft Manor. If you actually have watched the Altered Carbon series, well, I'm not sure if because I know some of you guys are not adults, still young. So I'm not sure if you are actually able to watch the series. But actually, the idea that there is actually where those wealthy people are actually living in the sky, or on the sky. Yeah, something like that. So basically, of course, we're just gonna do the same since we're actually the owner of the city. So basically, what we're planning is to build our personal mansion on the top area right over here. And I think it will look good, though. I mean, especially that it will actually be visible from from afar, and as well as, of course, it's actually on the topmost. But this is not going to be the tallest building. Well, like I said, probably I've mentioned that a couple months ago that we are actually going to have the tallest clock tower on the midsection right over here, which is going to be one of the highlights or main highlights of this city. And well, of course, hopefully we can do that before the season ends, because I know Minecraft 1.16 is already coming, but hopefully actually I'm already scared that this season is going to end, because we still got a lot of things we need to work on here though. But anyhow, of course, we're just gonna talk about that soon, and probably that's going to be on the next episode. But anyhow, of course, well, we still got the last segment of our time lapse, and of course, well, let's finish building this.